Happy Advent, everyone. This past weekend, we celebrated the first Sunday of Advent. The season of Advent marks the start of a new church year and the beginning of our journey toward Christmas. It's a time that should be filled with so much hope and promise, so much joy and expectation as we prepare for Christmas. A time when once again we remember and celebrate that God is with us and among us. This year, more than ever, we need that hope and joy. Without it, we might not have the courage and strength to continue walking these difficult days. We need to feel that hope and expectation. And then we need to share that joy that hope brings with others. This year, it might be a little harder to do that because of the many challenges we are facing during this pandemic. We might have to look a little harder and a little deeper to find what gives us hope, what brings us joy. Maybe it's as simple as watching a little child run into the arms of their mom or dad, hands outstretched and shouting all the way. I saw that happen in the store the other day, and it brought such joy to my heart. There was so much happiness and love in that moment, and it spoke so loudly of God's abiding love for us. Advent is a time for us to keep watch for those moments of hope and joy. It's a time for us to pay attention to the signs of God's presence in our lives, signs that remind us that we are not alone. We are not forgotten. If we take time to recognize the many ways that God is present to us and in our midst every day, then on Christmas, we will rejoice in knowing once again that God is truly with us. During these 4 weeks of Advent, as we renew our hope and find the joy of God around us, we also need to help others wherever we can. So today I want to share one simple way we can all do that during these days of Advent. When I was growing up, my mom always bought an Advent calendar for our home. Most of the time, it was just a plain cardboard calendar where my 5 brothers and sisters and I took turns every day opening one of the doors, reading the little scripture verse inside, and seeing what the picture was for that day. But some years, my mom would buy a calendar like this one that had a piece of chocolate behind each door. So when it was our turn to read the scripture verse, we got to discover what picture was embossed on the other side of the piece of chocolate. And then we got to eat that chocolate too. Because there were 6 of us, and the calendar began on December 1st and ended on Christmas Eve, that meant we would each get 4 pieces of chocolate during the season of Advent. So before we go any farther, I think we should open today's little calendar door because today is December 2nd. So here's the door, here's the verse. The angel Gabriel was sent from God to a virgin betrothed to a man named Joseph, and the virgin's name was Mary. And the little picture embossed on the other side of the chocolate is a picture of a little cupcake. All right, so we have 2 open, day 1 and day 2. We couldn't wait in those days until it was our turn to open these little doors every day, to read that scripture verse, see the picture on the other side of the chocolate, and then eat that little piece of chocolate. So this year, I thought, why don't we do a reverse Advent calendar? That means instead of getting something every day of Advent, we would be giving something every day. And since there are so many people right now who don't have enough food to feed their families because they've lost their job or unable to go to work, I thought it would be a good idea to give a food item every day during Advent. So here's my Advent basket and some of the ideas of what to put in it every day. You can start your reverse Advent calendar with this past Sunday, because that was the first Sunday of Advent. Or you could begin on December 1st and count from there. Or you can begin today. The bottom line is just start. And maybe one member of your household today can take a turn buying one food item to put in the basket. Or you just maybe can go to your food cupboard in your house and take out a food item and put that in the basket. Or maybe you just can put $1 in the basket if it is your turn for that day. Then at the end of Advent, you can bring the basket or the box to church, and we'll make sure it gets to our local food pantry. It's as simple as that. And such a great way to bring hope and joy to someone else during these Advent days. And don't be surprised if you feel some of that joy and hope come back to you and your family. During these days of Advent, let's keep watch together for the signs of God around us. Let's allow God's grace to touch us so that we can all be renewed in hope and refreshed in joy. Then Christmas will come, and we will rejoice in knowing once again that God is with us. Happy Advent, everyone.